Hi there, it is Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021. I'm Kendall, and this is Kendall Writes a Story. So the main question I wanted to address is, what does this silver bug have to do with my voice as a writer? My voice is about seeing the things in normal waking life that people miss every single day. My voice is about looking at something and turning it around and saying, why have we never looked at the back of this item? Why have we never looked at the other side? Because that's where the bad and the good things of the world lie, is on the flip side, the side that we're too busy to look at, the side we're too scared to look at, the side we're too energized or activated to look at. I guess the way that I would think about it is, it's like buying a can of beans at a grocery store. You go in, and the can of beans that you buy is the most expensive and it's always sold out, right? So you go in and it's $10 and everyone always buys it. Why? Is it the most organic? Is it the only organic can of beans? Is it the only can of beans that's made in a safe environment? Is it the only can of beans that tastes good? Probably not on all three accounts, but what if it is the only can of beans that says all that on the label, right? That says that clearly. And so everybody goes in and just buys that same can of beans because it says it clearly and easily. And my question, the question that I ask as a personal person, as a recruiter for 10 years, and now as a writer, when I look at the world and I see people all going to one thing, my question is, what work can I do that will let me see something different? What work can I do that will give me access to a different way? And so with the can of beans, it would be as simple as picking up the can of beans and turning it around, looking at the back label and seeing, are they made organically? Are they made with, like, weird parts or weird things? Or is it just a regular can of beans? You can even take it a step further, and like Google, you can even take it another step further and start doing scientific analyses, right? Buying cans of beans and testing them. All of that is work, and all of that, in my mind, is what allows people to see the differences in the world, is that little bit of work. And that is a voice that I want to share as a writer. It's also the voice that I have shared for 10 years as a recruiter, right? How can we find value where others are not seen? How can we value skilled employees that others don't? Right? When you work for a startup, you've got shoestring budgets, and there's no way that you can compete with the giant companies like Facebook, Google, Amazon when it comes to stock and amount of bonuses and all of that. So you have to be creative. And when I worked in smaller companies, right, there was always this, when I would go for interviews, I would always ask them, what is the problem that you're having? What is the problem you're trying to solve? And it was always the same answer. We have a whole lot of positions that we can't fill, and often we get to the final and we lose based on salary. That's what we get all the time. And so my question was always, what are you requiring from your candidates? And that's where we got into the rub, because they were looking at the same thing that everybody else was, just like a can of beans. They were wanting it to be easy. They were wanting somebody that had a college degree, and that college was a good college, and maybe even better if they had already worked at a big company, right? So they were paying for all that branding. And so my job, the way I viewed it, was, we have to bring in the work. We have to see the value that other people aren't seeing. We have to ask questions. We have to be intelligent about what we're looking for. We have to know what we're looking for, and we can't just rely on the branding. So that's what I would do, and we were able to hire amazing candidates. I have names that are just popping through my head right now of wonderful people who were excited to work for the companies that that we hired them for. They were excited to be a part because they'd been overlooked. Because nobody would give them a chance, just like the can of beans on the bottom. Nobody would even try because it wasn't easy. And that is what I want to share with the world. I want to share with the world of, it's not even hard work, it's just paying attention. It's just asking questions. And what can you gain if you just ask a couple of questions? If you go into the grocery store and there's a whole aisle of beans, but the one that you always buy is gone and it's $10, maybe it's time to look at another can of beans and say, what the hell? And that's how it is, pulling it back to silver, That's how it is with silver. Everybody buys the same stuff. They buy coins that are minted, that have, you know exactly how much value is in them. They buy bullion that you know exactly how much value is in them. And those are great buys, but you usually pay top dollar, and often they are not even around. Often they're even limited. You can buy like 10 at the most, and then that's it from that company for that month. So my question that I asked when I started getting into silver is, what are people not buying and why? And what I found was that people were not buying tableware. People were not buying sterling silver brushes and mirrors because they're weighted and they are odd shaped, and sometimes they're old and ugly and people don't know how to use them. And I look at that and I think, here's a dusty thing that's sitting on a shelf for a year. Demand is low. Prices are low. You go to an antique shop, they get discounts all the time. So I look and think, what's the gap? How can I fill that gap? And so I started measuring. I started working. I started buying out pieces that seemed to be good values, starting low, and I measured them and I calibrated them. Right? I took calipers to them and I figured their thickness and I weighed them. And then I built trend charts and I started realizing, oh, all forks follow a trend. So if you see a 6-inch fork, it's going to weigh within 10 grams of any other 6-inch fork that you see. So if you're cruising through eBay and you see a 6-inch fork that doesn't have a weight on it, chances are two things are going to be real. One, it is going to be within that 10-gram weight range, which is like 2 ounces, like 3 pennies, right? A penny is like 3 grams, right? So you're going to be within 3 pennies of knowing exactly how much a fork is going to weigh, and no one else is because the weight's not posted. The second thing that's going to happen is no one is going to bid on that fork because there's no weight and people don't know what it weighs. So I wanted to know, and that's what I have, and that's what I'm excited to share with the world. That's cool to me. Anywho, that's been my update. I hope you've liked it. I hope you're excited about the Silver Book. And if you have questions, please let me know. I would love to answer questions. I would love to tell you more about what's in the book in case you're excited about it. And I'd love to tell you more about what I'm doing. So just let me know. Anyway, have a great day. Take care.